For thousands of years, the fates of nations have rested on the shoulders of young men and women, 18 and 19-year-olds who put themselves in harm's way as a matter of duty. Tonight, you'll have a front row seat and unprecedented access to the brutal tests these warriors must pass in order to be ready for battle. For every weapon, for every tactic, in fact, for everything you can think of in the military, there's a contest, a competition, a war game. The men and women of the U.S. Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Corps know that winning here means lives saved and battles won when it is no longer a game. The first war game is called JRTC. The Army's goal is to retake a town held by a well-entrenched and fearsome enemy. Even worse, the enemy is holding civilian hostages. In a race against time, 1,300 U.S. soldiers must parachute into enemy territory and fight their way through miles of force. Then they must assault the town of Shugart-Gordon, defeat the enemy there, and rescue the hostages, all within just 18 hours. The town is called Shugart-Gordon for a very special reason. In 1993, fighting in Somalia, Sergeant First Class Randall Shugart and Master Sergeant Gary Gordon volunteered for an overwhelmingly dangerous mission. Facing machine guns and rocket-propelled grenades, they made their way through the streets of Mogadishu and successfully protected the crews of 2 downed U.S. helicopters. Their heroism won them the Medal of Honor, but it cost them their lives. And so, we go to the town of Shugart-Gordon. Let the games begin.
This is a Super Bowl of training events.
Everybody wants to win. On both sides are trying to kill each other off. Closest thing to the real thing.
These are the good guys, codenamed Blue 4, soldiers of the 82nd Airborne, dressed in their camouflage battle fatigues, the largest parachute force in the entire free world.
My name is Staff Sergeant David Barron, member of 1st Platoon Alpha Company, 3rd of the 325 Airborne Infantry Regiment. I have a wife and 3 boys. When I'm not home, it's hard for my wife. You know, she has to step up and try and do everything at one time. But I like to think that she's a little bit stronger and more independent for it all. The biggest thing that I miss is being able to have my kids come in the morning. Really do miss those guys. They really make all the stuff that I do seem worth it.
I'm Sergeant John Harper. I'm stationed at Fort Bragg, North Carolina. I'm here to train, fight, and win.
Okay. I've wanted to join the 82nd Airborne since high school. And now that I'm here, I'm glad I'm here.
Got position?
It's going to be interesting. We train for this all the time. Keep training, and until it's instinct.
You should already know that the Airborne Recon Platoon is okay.
These are the bad guys, codename OPFOR, short for opposing force. They're also U.S. soldiers, but they dress, act, and fight like the enemy. You'll see them run and gun like deadly snipers, brutally hold innocent hostages, and set off booby traps to blow the good guys to bits.
I'm Captain Bruce Vitor. I'm the company commander for Bravo 1st of 509th Parachute Infantry.
First Sergeant Joseph Severino, Bravo Company, 1st of 509th. My purpose is to provide Blue 4 units with the hardest fight they'll ever face, both in combat or in training.
This war game takes place on a fictional island. There are 3 warring countries, Victoria, Atlantica, and Cortina. Atlantica recently invaded Cortina, and the Cortinian government appeals to American forces for immediate help. So, here's the game's objective: the liberation of the enemy-occupied town of Shugart-Gordon.
This may look like a small town in Bosnia, but it's actually in the good old USA at Fort Polk in central Louisiana. This is the home of the Joint Readiness Training Center. The mission: joint training of U.S. forces for urban warfare. The Army built this entire mock city to teach soldiers how to wage war in an urban environment. Check it out. This whole place is like a giant film set, with a church, a post office, a hospital, a school, houses, and even the town inhabitants are played by hired extras just like in the movies.
Jason Emerson, Randy White.
These civilians are taken hostage and held like human shields by the enemy. They will stand at the very crossfire of this war game. The good guys, Blue 4, Harper, Barron, and the legendary 82nd Airborne, versus the enemy, Op 4, Vitor and Savarino. And get this, the bad guys battle here so often, they've got the home field advantage.
Through sheer repetition, they've got the Shugart-Gordon fight down to a science.
Blue 4 has just 18 hours from the time they're deployed from Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to kick the bad guys out of Shugart-Gordon.
It's the middle of the night, and I'm being held hostage by the rebels, along with this group of townspeople.
Imagine their despair. Taken from their homes, held hostage at gunpoint, cut off from loved ones, cut off from the world.
They could come in here and kill all of us in 1 minute.
Our only hope for survival rests with Blue 4, the 82nd Airborne Division.
Sit tight. Rescuers are on the way, dropping silently out of the night sky. Their motto, no mission is too tough, no sky too high. You call, we fall. It's 0300 hours. Of the 18 hours allowed, only 9 hours remain. The battle to liberate Shugart-Gordon has begun.
018, wind 0.
Then something goes horribly wrong. The jumpers land in a hot zone. It's an ambush. In a matter of moments, many GIs are lost. Welcome to guerrilla warfare. The good guys will have to fight their way through 20 miles of enemy snipers before they can even reach the town. It's going to be a long night, and if they don't free the hostages by high noon, they've lost the game. Blue 4 hustles toward town. They've got just 8 hours left to free the hostages, and the clock is ticking.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Got 6 individuals in my squad that are brand new to the Army. This was their first time walking with me in the woods.
Put it up, man. Put it back on the rope. 7, 8, 9.
Just gotta try to pay attention and learn as much as I can from some of the guys who've been down here for a while.
Yeah, I have a lot to learn from Staff Sergeant Barron. He has a lot to give. He has so much knowledge. He's always giving us something new. No matter how long you've been with him, he's always got something new to say. He'll drop knowledge on other new guys who come in here. He wants them to be like him. I guess a little mini-me, basically.
My intent is to get these guys to a level where they can take my job and run with it. And that's really all I want.
Because if Sergeant Barron is wounded or killed, somebody else in his squad has to step up to take his place.
Right now, it's 5:30 in the morning, and we'll be getting daylight here in about 30 or 45 minutes. And one of the advantages U.S. forces have is tremendous night vision capabilities. Between thermals and the infrared night vision goggles, we have a much greater capability than the enemy forces have.
But Major Krebs knows time is running out.
Op 4's plan is to drag this fight out into daylight. When it becomes daylight, we lose all our night vision advantage. And now we're facing the Op 4 on equal footing.
Let's go, Herrera. 200 meters, dropping rock.
Sergeant Barron's boys push on, but the enemy has a plan to cut them off and cut them down.
Hey, what's up with that Viper?
Oh, my God. They know the terrain. We don't. It's all new to us. And you have to do it in a speedy process. Otherwise, they're quick to call fire on you.
Second battalion's been destroyed by mortar fire with 4 clicks north of Shugart-Gordon.
The good guys inch closer to town, closer to saving the hostages. But first, they have to find a way to break through the enemy's defenses. And enemy traps are everywhere.
One, we got contact to our 6 o'clock. Can you see him? I can see him. Shoot him!
By the way, here's a tip to help you tell the American GIs from the enemy soldiers. The American troops known as Blue 4 always wear hard helmets and camouflage uniforms. They're the good guys. The bad guys, known as Op 4, the opposing force, always wear soft canvas hats and plain green uniforms. That includes the enemy snipers firing on Sergeant Barron and his men right now.
Sniper fire is one of the strategies used by OPFOR to delay and cripple the U.S. forces in their race to rescue the hostages.
9 o'clock south, one person.
All right, let's go, Bart.
Where are they shooting at us from, over? Hey, we're gonna Charlie Mike, we're gonna go after him.
Can't get a clear target, but I see movement.
Where?
I have one laying in the bushes.
If you can see him, waste him.
I think I got him.
But the tree line conceals a second enemy sniper, and he's got his sights set on Staff Sergeant Barron. It's a heart-stopping moment for Barron and his squad. Their leader is down, and this is no kid's game of laser tag.
Miles Gears is a system set up where a laser is attached to your weapon, and every time that you fire a blank round, it emits a laser beam. When that laser beam strikes the harness that I'm wearing or the halo that I wear on my ballistic helmet, it sets off a little siren, if you will.
It's a piercing sound that reminds every soldier of the horrifying screams they hear on a real battlefield.
After you've been hit, you just take off your ballistic helmet, sit there on the ground, and that's how everyone else knows you've been hit.
Just take care of you guys, reposition, get security.
Sergeant Barron, like every soldier in this war game, carries what's called a casualty card. One look at the card, and you know if you're just wounded, critical, or going home in a body bag. Enter this war game's referees.
The OCs, they're called observer controllers. They basically overwatch and make sure the rules are being obeyed by and nothing ridiculous is going on.
Good news. It's only a minor shoulder wound. Sergeant Barron is down, but not out. His injury isn't real, but medics bandage him as if it were. They have just a few minutes because in actual combat, if not treated quickly, he could die from shock or blood loss. The close call reminds these guys that this isn't just a game.
At times, Staff Sergeant Barron may be too hyped, which is all the time, but that's just Staff Sergeant Barron. He's being himself. He loves his job more than anybody that I've seen so far.
I keep being told I'm gonna have a heart attack before I'm 30. Most of my life, I just kind of did whatever. Joining the military changed me a lot. I've had some really good platoon sergeants that told me, hey, you know what? All you gotta do is get off your lazy butt and get out there and go get after it, and you can have anything you want. I had an uncle who was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam who recently passed away. He would tell me about the things he did for his country, and I'm in awe of him. He gave everything he had, and I like to think that that's how I'm going to live the rest of my life. So no matter what, I've gained something by this whole doggone experience.
Barron and his boys get back into action, but they've lost valuable time in this race to free the hostages. Several miles away, Sergeant Harper's squad is about to walk into a rat's nest of their own.
Sergeant Dempsey, where you at? Go take some position. Our platoon, move forward. We need space. Let's go, let's go.
We're about to die.
Take it! Stop. Get out. All of them? Yeah.
The observers determine the mortar rounds waste 5 of Harper's men. Harper himself survives. Shaken and with only half his squad alive, Harper knows that he must move on.
All right, pick it up, go, go.
You just adapt and overcome, whatever the odds are. Adapt and overcome.
0800. Only 4 hours left to free the innocent civilians held captive.
Get down in the ditch.
The good guys finally reach the outskirts of town, but delays have cost them the cover of night, and the body count is bad. 1 out of every 4 guys is a casualty, and the worst is yet to come. Sergeant Barron calls for smoke to cover his movements. As his troops mount their assault, fighting erupts at the northwest corner of town.
Roger, one SAW, one M16, I see. Where Bradley there, see it?
I don't see any ground troops.
They're right in the ground. See it now?
Yeah, I see them now.
There's going to be their own little Normandy out there.
The Battle of Shugart-Gordon will be fought on city streets where any building could be a booby trap, and firepower rains down from the rooftops. When we return, the enemy scores a major victory, and civilians get caught in the crossfire. Then it's kill or be killed.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
Destroy an enemy sub before it attacks a supercarrier with 5,000 American lives at stake.
It's all up to us.
Welcome back. The U.S. Army is poised for their final assault on the enemy-held town of Shugart-Gordon. The American troops have lost the advantage of night. They've lost men and equipment. But what they haven't lost is the will to fight.
The good guys of Blue Force slog their way toward Shugart-Gordon. The closer they get, the more ferocious the resistance.
Incoming!
It's the fourth quarter, and the good guys desperately need a big play.
The whole point of this thing is to get to the town and destroy the enemy in the town.
All right, try to keep up with this, man. I know the thing's heavy.
0940. Snipers again. As the invading force gets ready for the assault on Shugart-Gordon, they realize they're sitting ducks for enemy sharpshooters.
Hey, get down. There he is, off board.
Where's he at? Pull it out.
He's walking away.
Get him, get him, get him.
That op 4 dude just walked right up the middle of that road and shot someone and walked away.
Let's go!
Senior officers watch the action in a command control center.
In a little bit, you'll see how wild and crazy it gets.
Charlie Company's going to go seize these three.
Sergeant Barron targets the buildings his men must capture. They are the buildings where some of the hostages are believed to be held.
And the next
This one and this one.
Under heavy fire, Sergeant Harper regroups his scattered squad.
Come on, move.
Suddenly, Harper faces a real war command decision. His standing order is to advance, but he stumbles across two critically wounded GIs who need to be evacuated.
We got a litter, priority litter.
And if you ask guys throughout time immemorial, why do you fight? Why do you go through the cold, the misery, the rain, the hunger, the dirt, everything else? Why do you go through that? And he'll tell you universally, guys fight for the buddy to the left and the right.
Which one can I carry?
No, he's priority.
Actually, I was going to pick him up, Sean.
All right.
When it hits the fan and they're getting shot, they're not worried about anything except what am I doing and how can I not let him down? You just look around and you say, these are my brothers here. This is my family.
Hey, you come here, straight up the road right now.
Suddenly, the enemy has a clear shot.
First squad, second squad.
Sergeant Harper, the boy who dreamed of becoming a soldier, becomes a casualty of war. He's out of the game. The surviving troops of Blue Force are angry and bloodied, but ready to battle their way into Shugart-Gordon. Sergeant Barron and his men get ready to race into the firestorm.
I think they're in town.
U.S. forces have just laid down a smoke screen to cover them as they approach the breach.
Backed by armor and artillery, the good guys storm the town to free the hostages. They charge right into the teeth of enemy resistance. Tanks punch a gap in the barbed wire so Barron's troops can reach the hostages. But before they can move out, they're pinned down by withering fire directed at the passageway from the very buildings where the captives are held.
They got an open lane, but still they can't just run through it because they got to suppress all the enemy that's in these buildings on the other side of the street. You know, they're basically aiming right at the hole in the wire the guy made, because when the soldiers start running through there, they can get shot.
With time running out, Barron looks for another way in. He makes a heartbreaking decision. He picks one of his own boys and orders him to throw himself on the barbed wire, creating a human bridge. The rest of his men race across the razor-sharp wire.
Come on.
Stick your head out again.
But the soldier gets stuck in the wire, helpless. An enemy sharpshooter takes aim and takes him out.
There we go. Thank you.
Hungry for revenge, a U.S. tank finds a nest of 8 enemy snipers and with a single shell, kills them all. Across the street from Barron, other troops surround 2 warehouses. Then, tragedy strikes. Booby traps. 12 American soldiers killed in action. Barron leads his men to their objective, the office building where the enemy hides, like cowards behind their captives.
All right, man, you're ready to move. You're ready to move.
Their presence will deter U.S. forces from firing on your building.
Correct.
So essentially, you're using them as human shields. Is that true?
No, they're helping.
Barron's squad storms the building. Hearts pounding, they search from room to room, knowing the enemy could hide behind any corner. Meanwhile, tanks crash through town, crushing the enemy's resistance. The tide is finally turning, but there are only 30 minutes left. Blue 4 has the bad guys on the run. A squad fights its way into the town post office, enemy headquarters. Victory is at hand, but the enemy commander, Captain Vitor, escapes through a secret tunnel. He will live to fight another day. His right-hand man, Sergeant Savarino, stays behind to cover the enemy retreat. But his courage is no match for a .50 caliber machine gun. Exhausted, he accepts death and defeat. The good guys are now in control of 2/3 of the town. In the closing seconds of the game, surviving members of the enemy force turn tail and run. It's over. The men of Blue 4 have won the battle. The hostages are free, and the streets erupt with cheering from troops and townspeople. They outthought and outfought the enemy. The commanding general signals an end to the exercise.
Nick call. A tactical freeze in effect for 7 hours until 2000 hours.
A series of after-action reviews will now take place, and the units will take home videotapes to review, just like football teams screening game films. The whole idea is to learn both from the triumphs and the mistakes.
In the end, it's not the weapons, it's not the tactics, it's not the high-tech hardware that carries the day. It's what our soldiers find within themselves, their flinty resolve, their raw courage, and their unselfish spirit.
JRTC has ended, and Shugart Gordon has been restored to peace. This is Vic Chow for Wargames.
When American troops are called to duty around the world, remember, it's men like Sergeant Barron and Sergeant Harper fighting on the front line. More war games when we come back.
Coming up next, enemy submarines stalk a U.S. supercarrier. Can the good guys take out an adversary they can't even see?
I don't have to. Really? That's serious.
And later, the most dangerous war game of all, when the Marines play with live fire.
We now turn to the U.S. Navy in a war game called Wolf Hunt. 2 enemy submarines are on the prowl, stalking a U.S. aircraft carrier. The Navy's mission? Find and destroy those 2 subs before the enemy sinks our supercarrier. The good guys have 6 aircraft, 4 helicopters, and 2 planes, equipped with sonar listening devices, high-powered machine guns, missiles, and torpedoes. But the bad guys also have some firepower. Small surface ships equipped with anti-aircraft guns. 3 different Navy teams called Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie all play the same game. Same sea, same enemy subs, same ticking clock. But only one team will emerge the winner of Wolf Hunt.
During World War II, German gangs of submarines called wolf packs hunted our American ships, hence the name for this competition, Wolf Hunt.
Behind me is the USS Constellation. I'm at the Naval Air Station North Island in San Diego, California. This is what it's all about, protecting these aircraft carriers and the 5,000 souls aboard from enemy submarines. This is the inside of a nuclear submarine. Trying to find one of these underwater is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. Everything in here is designed to avoid detection.
The object of the game? Destroy the enemy subs before they destroy the American supercarrier.
The air crews that are competing in the Wolf Hunt are essentially the best of the best. They represent their squadrons. They're the best aviators, the best tacticians, and the best air crewmen.
Wolf Hunt is a simulated war at sea. Each of the 3 battle groups, Alpha, Bravo, and Charlie, has 4 hours to locate and destroy 2 hostile ships and 2 enemy submarines. Each battle group has 6 aircraft, a P-3 Orion airplane flying at the highest elevation, hunting subs and directing other aircraft, an S-3 Viking fixed-wing jet flying bombing runs against enemy vessels, and 4 SH-60 helicopters, capable of surveillance, detection, and destruction of subs and surface ships. These 6 aircraft must protect a U.S. aircraft carrier like linemen protect the quarterback. The supercarrier is simulated by a small naval vessel. The battle group that destroys the enemy and sustains the fewest losses wins. Their primary target, a submarine impersonator. It may not look like much, but it's crammed with $2 million worth of electronics that emit noises of submarine engines, sonar probes, and even the sound of tools dropping.
Battle Group Alpha will be the first one on the range.
Let's go, let's go, let's go!
And then Battle Group Bravo will execute the same mission. And then Battle Group Charlie will go out and try their luck.
Games have begun.
First up, the Alpha team.
I'm AW1 Michael Riolano, and we're from San Diego, California, representing the unforgettable Saberhawks of HSL 47. We'll be flying a 60 Bravo Wolf Hunt competition. The 3 that I've participated in, I won all 3.
He means his crews.
Exactly. I was just going to thank you very much. It wasn't me myself.
No, he was trying to take credit himself.
Rio tries to tell everybody if possible.
I think he has a billboard.
That's usually how he introduces himself to people out in town. I'm Rio, Wolf Hunt champion 3 times.
Ever since I was a little kid, and my parents would take us on trips, we'd go to the airport, and I would just awe at airplanes and helicopters taking off, and never thought I would ever end up doing that. Just being in the air and flying, getting away from traffic, kind of like doing your own thing, being free in a sense. You'd have to experience it to completely understand it. I've had a couple close calls. I lost a very, very close friend of mine in a crash about 2.5 years ago. There's a lot of times I'll go flying and I'll think about it. And it'll distract me sometimes, but adapt and overcome. You know, this is my job. This is what I want to do. This is what I love to do. And there's a risk with everything. There's a risk with driving to work.
Brief time is 1000.
Rio and his team plot their strategy.
Have a good flight.
Roger that, sir. Hey, thanks a lot, Jason.
I have confidence we've got the best crew in the game today, so I don't think we'll have any problems in identifying ourselves as that. Now, if all the balls bounce our way and everything works out, I think we'll do a good job. All right?
Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Do this big. Let's dance.
I'm the guy on this team who's going to be the primary sensor operator. I'm going to take all this information, and Lieutenant Fillion, we're going to plot it together, make a tactical picture, and determine where the submarine is, and that's when we're going to put the weapons on target. Kind of load some buoy. Very important part of the mission that we're going to be doing today. This is sonar buoy. I'm going to load this last one into the aircraft. So I load them in here. Once we think we know where the submarine is, we're going to spit a buoy right here. And if we think he's going to the north, we'll spit another buoy here.
So he's going to drive right into our buoy field and set a tactical plot. The passive sonobuoys are the ones that are going to listen. The active sonobuoys are the ones that are going to transmit a signal, and I'll hear if there's a submarine out there. We're going to keep doing that until we find them and drop this torpedo on them. Showtime. Let's rock and roll, Dan.
This is the Range Operations Center for Wolf Hunt, otherwise known as the Rock.
In this room, SWAT's instructors will evaluate each team and determine the winner. At 1300 hours, Battle Group Alpha, with its allied Canadian P-3 airplane, takes off. They have 4 hours to locate and destroy all enemy vessels. Alpha's S-3 Viking jet attacks aggressively, making a bombing run at the surface ship, represented by this heat-emitting target. It's a high-risk maneuver. Get too close to the ship, you're in range of its simulated anti-aircraft weapons. Then you're fish bait.
Amber 707 Messenger 102.
The jet comes in at low level and high speed. Bombs away.
Oh, there you go.
A disappointing miss. Now it's up to Rio and his helicopter crew. They have to get in close to the simulated ship if they have any hope of destroying it. They've got just 30 seconds by the rules of the game before an enemy anti-aircraft gun would blow them out of the sky, just like in real war.
Adam, 12 o'clock, brother, 12 o'clock. Got a visual? You see the thing about 100 yards north of the road? Roger. On target. Your card. On target. Let them know when it's clear. Start fire.
Score, Battle Group Alpha 1, bad guys 0. But the jet pilot who missed with his bombs now makes a second deadly mistake. As he veers away from his target, he fails to spot the second enemy ship in the area. Now, the good guys are under attack, and the enemy's about to even the score. The surface ship with its laser sensors has shot down the S-3 Viking jet, taking it out of the game. Rio and his crew are forced to attack again, but this time they're all alone.
Got him? Yeah. From us, 110, 25 mics behind us. Okay. I have them working. You gotta love when everything works in this aircraft. I love it, dude. Sweet ginger brown.
They launch an air-to-surface missile at the hostile ship.
Now. Impact now.
Got him.
There we go. That's what we wanted. Booyah!
With both hostile ships destroyed, the helicopter turns its sights to hunting subs. Rio releases a sonobuoy, literally a pair of electronic ears.
We run the show. Let's go.
To the north of Rio, another Alpha Team helicopter uses its dipping sonar to pinpoint an enemy sub. Then they invite Rio's crew to get in on the kill. Until Rio arrives, they sit on the sub, tracking its evasive action.
I think this is Wolf right here. Okay.
Greedy for another victory, Rio drops a torpedo. The enemy takes evasive measures, and the torpedo misses. The enemy sub slips away into the inky depths of the ocean. With their blood up, Alpha doesn't spot the second enemy sub, seen here in red, as it sneaks up on the aircraft carrier. 5,000 Navy men and women, and a silent killer has them in its sights.
I don't have it. Really? That's serious.
The sub fires a single torpedo.
They shot at the good guy.
It's a hit. The carrier is badly damaged. Time is running out on Alpha. The P-3 airplane races in to fire 2 torpedoes into the enemy sub. It revealed its position when it launched its torpedo into the aircraft carrier.
No.
Game over. Final score? Battle Group Alpha took out 2 hostile ships and 1 submarine. But the bad guys destroyed the S-3 jet and damaged the aircraft carrier.
So you guys are just back from wolf hunt competition?
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it right now?
During wolf hunt, things are going to happen. Expect the unexpected, and a couple of those situations happened out there. The outcome is going to determine on how Bravo and Charlie do tomorrow. Then we'll find out on Wednesday for sure who is the winner.
Stay tuned to find out if Rio and his Alpha team win their 4th consecutive wolf hunt, or if a new team claims the title as top dog.
Coming up, something goes wrong, and one of the wolf hunt teams must play the game shorthanded. Then, a brave Marine comes face-to-face with lethal explosives in a game played with real bullets. And next, he flies the plane, she drops the bombs. But can this daring duo outrun an enemy MiG on their tail? Find out as Wargames continues.
To remain masters of the sky, the U.S. Air Force plays a war game called Red Flag. The mission? To destroy an enemy airfield. But first, it's an old-fashioned dogfight as the Air Force tries to rid the skies of enemy MiGs. Next, U.S. F-15 fighter pilots must destroy anti-aircraft positions protecting the airstrip. Then, and only then, can the fearsome B-52 and B-1 bombers move in to obliterate the enemy airfield. That's the game. But here's the kicker. When an enemy plane is shot down, he's not out of the game. He's just sent to the penalty box before he comes roaring back to life.
My heart just started beating really fast, the way it did the first time I went into combat.
With 2 aircraft that are similarly matched, the guy that's a better pilot's going to win. We're trying to make it so they can survive the first 10 combat missions.
It was one of the painful lessons learned in Vietnam. Most of the American pilots shot down had flown fewer than 10 missions. The Air Force knew they had to do something, and they did. They created a war game so realistic that American pilots would experience the equivalent of those first 10 missions without risking their lives. It's a game called Red Flag.
I'm here on the tarmac at Nellis Air Force Base just outside of Las Vegas, and we're ready for the start of Red Flag. Now, the goal of this game is simple. Get in there and take out the enemy's airfield. But the execution is not so easy.
These are the good guys, 6 combat rookies, codename Blue Air. They must do battle with 4 hardened veterans flying the enemy jets. The bad guys, codename Red Air. Here's the mission. Eliminate the bad guys so a second wave of Blue Air jets can get close enough to bomb the enemy's anti-aircraft positions and take out their command and communications bunker. All in under 30 minutes. That's the job of Captains Mary Melfi and Dan Rauch. It may be the most dangerous job in Red Flag. Melfi and Rauch must attack an enemy who already knows they're coming. .0600. There's an eerie stillness on the tarmac of Nellis Air Force Base. Fighter pilots suit up for action.
Captain Dan Rauch with the 391st Bold Tigers from Mountain Home Air Force Base.
I'm Captain Mary Lorraine Melfi. I'm an F-15E Wizzo. My primary job is to get those bombs on target.
He flies the plane, she drops the bombs.
When I was a young girl, I lived near an airport. I grew up in Long Island, New York, and I used to have airplanes flying over my house. So from that point forward, I had always known that I wanted to be a part of that. A guy that thinks that women don't belong in the military really doesn't know a whole lot about the military and how it works these days. Women can do anything that men can do. As long as you're determined and dedicated to a specific goal, you can do it. I absolutely love my job. Every time I get to go fly, I get really happy because I really love what I do. Okay, flying after
As pilot and weapons systems operator, Ralk and Melfi work as a team to plan their mission.
Steer point number 5, there are 2 offsets in the hold that we can use to keep our system tight. The way we brief at a red flag mission is as if you were in combat. You are in that mindset from the time you plan up that mission through the time you finish the mission and debrief.
Our target area is just past the wash, bordering just east of a north-south road here. And the target kind of looks like dice. Number 1 is hitting the center. Number 2 is hitting the leftmost target. What I'm going to do is hold my release until you've released, so I'm not dropping bombs in there.
You can see the enemy planes are right behind me. They're getting set to take off too. They're painted in enemy colors, and they've been trained to fly like the enemy.
We use the Russian Air Force as a baseline because even today, after the fall of communism, a lot of client states or foreign client states are flying those old Russian aircraft.
These are the bad guys, battle-tested American pilots whose job it is to give the rookies the fight of their lives, the kind of fight they can't get from a computer game or textbook.
Captain Malcolm X. Kemeny, assigned to the aggressor squadron at Red Flag here at Nellis Air Force Base. Our role during this exercise is a professional bad guys and adversary tactics instructor pilot.
I'm Lieutenant Colonel Craig Underhill, Operations Officer for the United States Air Force Aggressors. My job here at Red Flag is to provide realistic blue training that someday may save their life in a war. We either exploit their mistakes or we die like we're supposed to.
This mission's going to feel as real to combat, if not more so, than you could probably imagine.
The Red Air aggressors are airborne.
This is our team's F-15, and that's the ground crew working on it because it's taken off momentarily. Each one of these guys has a specific task, and each one of these guys is just as important as the 2 people going up in it.
Melfi and Ralk do their flight checks as the first wave of their Blue Air Squadron takes off. Red Flag has begun.
The F-15Cs, they fly above us and in front of us and try to kill all the bandits before we get there so we don't have to deal with them.
You do your pre-flight, you walk around, you hear some jets taking off in the background, hearing them kick it into afterburner. And then it's your turn to get in the jet. It's your turn to start your engines.
We're gonna go up there. We're gonna kick front. Gunfighter front.
In a minute, it goes from silence to loud jet noise. And that noise right there motivates you like nobody's business.
The best comparison to a fighter-type airplane might be a roller coaster. Going down that first big hill, it's really a kick in the pants. You get shoved back in the seat, and you can feel the jet rumbling as the afterburners light up. Then you can just see the airport disappear behind you if you look back.
As Ralk and Melfi make their ascent, Blue Air and Red Air jets are already battling it out in the sky. Captain Bill McCaw flies point for Blue Air. In Red Flag, lasers are used to rack up kills. It's like a flying game of laser tag.
A dogfight is really like a knife fight in a telephone booth. You can see the other airplane. At times, you can see the other pilot. You have to continually monitor the other aircraft. You have to counter all the inputs one pilot makes, always trying to achieve a position of advantage behind the other airplane. You're doing all this, you're weighing probably 600-700 pounds with the G-forces you have there. So it slows down your movements in the cockpit, but you can't slow down what you're doing in the airplane.
Captain McCaw locks his laser onto the enemy jet. Ready, aim, fire. It's a direct hit. Looks like the enemy's been taken out. But in this game, as in real war, the good guys never really know exactly how many planes are in the enemy Air Force. So Lieutenant Colonel Underhill will be back.
Once we as aggressors die, we descend back down, we pretend like we're taking off again, and we come alive for more Blue Air training, and we attack the threat again.
Blue Air successfully shoots down all 3 remaining enemy fighters. Believing the way has been cleared, Melfi and Rauch speed toward their targets. McCaw and the rest of Blue Air's first wave turn around to head home.
There's an absolute rush knowing that the air-to-air players did their mission, did their role, and now it's like they're saying, okay, here, we've cleared the area for you. It's your turn to go in and blow up that target.
Captains Melfi and Rauch begin their descent. They drop to 500 feet. They must dodge anti-aircraft guns and bomb their target, the enemy's command bunker.
The objective for us is to blow up a bunker, to put a bomb right through the middle of the bunker. Our weapons system officer is looking at the target in our targeting pod, trying to find it, making absolutely sure we are on the right bunker that our bomb's supposed to hit. At that same time, I'm looking around, making sure there's not one of the MiGs trying to roll in and kill us.
Sure enough, just as Melfi and Rauch move into position, the bad guys are back again. An enemy jet streaks in to engage them on a collision course. That's Lieutenant Colonel Underhill, and he's closing fast on Melfi and Rauch.
When you're flying, you'll happen to get into a dogfight, and you wind up pulling G's, and you do get all scrunched up, but you have to strain against it in order to make sure you don't black out.
It's a race. Melfi and Rauch are speeding to their target, but with an enemy MiG on their tail, they could be blown out of the sky before they have a chance to finish the job.
I'm doing the weapon delivery role from the air-to-ground standpoint. Dan's trying to do the offensive air-to-air role and the defensive looking out for surface-to-air missile role.
The enemy plane fires. The good guys evade.
What's your ETA,
But the Red Air pilot is good.
I can't shake him.
And is getting ready to try again. Melfi and Rauch can't get behind him to return fire. The bandit sets his sights on them again and closes in. In just a few seconds, he'll be in position for the kill. If somebody doesn't do something fast, it looks like Melfi and Rauch will have met their match.
Captains Melfi and Rauch appear to be just seconds away from defeat. Is there any way to pull out a victory? We'll find out when we come back.
Also ahead, suspense at sea when a wolf hunt team runs into bad luck.
Come on, baby. Work with us.
And later, there are snipers in those hills, and it's up to these brave Marines to drive them out.
Four branches, 3 fields of battle, 2 hours of combat with only one mission: to prove who really is the best of the best. War Games next on the Superstation. Brought to you by the U.S. Navy.
If Red Flag were a championship football game, the U.S. Air Force would be down by 2 touchdowns late in the 4th quarter. Right now, Captains Rauch and Melfi have an enemy MiG on their tail. Can they take out their prime target before the MiG takes them out?
Captains Melfi and Rauch of Blue Air are struggling to shake the enemy MiG off their tail. It's Lieutenant Colonel Underhill, determined to teach these combat rookies a valuable lesson. Captain Rauch expertly releases chaff, a fiery diversion that confuses the enemy's laser tracking system.
When the radar pilot's attacking me, I take it very personally. It makes me quite mad, in fact, when I know somebody is trying to shoot me down. So I'm going to try to shoot them before they shoot me.
Enemy defenses of the target area. Void surface to air. 10 o'clock.
Despite Captain Rauch's maneuvers, the enemy jet is still right there and nearly in position to fire.
I can't shake him.
Rauch and Melfi send out a call for help. Suddenly, a third dog jumps into the fight. It's Captain Bill McCaw, another Blue Air fighter pilot who was returning to base when he heard the distress call. Now it's a quick draw contest.
I'm tracking. He's in my sight.
McCaw shoots first. The Red Air jet bites the dust.
5 to 2-5. Thanks for the save, McCaw. I owe you one.
That was a close call, but now Melfi and Rauch have a new problem. The dogfight has left them desperately short of fuel. Another setback, and they may not have enough to get back to base. They have one shot, and one shot only, to complete their mission and take out the enemy's heavily fortified command and communication center. And it's not much bigger than a trailer.
2 minutes to bombs away. Take it down.
You start that combat descent down to 500 feet, and your blood starts pumping. There's an absolute rush. This is the meat of the mission. This is what you've been training for, to go drop your weapons and to blow up that target, blow it up to smithereens.
If they miss their target, the mission is a failure. Captain Melfi takes her best shot.
Push it over. Bombs away. Hard right. Take it down.
When I dropped the bomb, I felt it come off the jet. There was a audible thunk of the jet shimmied a little bit as the bomb comes off the jet. It happens every time. It's a good feeling.
It's a totally awesome feeling, watching your crosshairs on your scope and seeing your bomb come in through your field of view now and shack your target. It's a great feeling. You are overcome with a feeling of accomplishment, that you've done what you needed to do to protect Americans.
We went in there, we accomplished our mission. We put the bomb right through the middle of the bunker, and then we egressed out as fast as we could.
Now that the enemy's command center and anti-aircraft weapons are destroyed, Blue Air's fearsome B-1 and B-52 bombers swoop in to blast the enemy's runway. Victory. Total, unqualified victory. Lieutenant Colonel Underhill and the rest of the Red Air team take their loss in stride.
Our job is to train Blue Air. So what we do is provide them a realistic threat.
We're trying to make it so they can survive the first 10 combat missions and have that confidence and experience to make it through an actual combat situation.
Outstanding mission. We went out there. Everything went according to plan. Bombs on target, as per the goal, and 100% hits.
Get her, Jeff. All came back alive.
Mission complete.
Well, that's it for Red Flag. It's time to send it back to the studio.
As we saw in the Gulf War, it's air superiority that wins the day. And virtually every single Air Force fighter pilot who flew combat missions in Desert Storm flew in Red Flag first. Now, round 2 of Wolf Hunt, the Navy's game of anti-submarine warfare. In round 1, the 3-time champion Alpha team knocked out the enemy's surface ships and sunk one enemy sub. But the enemy fired a devastating torpedo into Alpha's aircraft carrier. So the field is wide open for either Bravo team or Charlie team to win the Wolf Hunt Trophy.
I'm Lieutenant Brent Gott with HSL 49, the Scorpions. We'll be flying the SA-60 Bravo Seahawk for Battle Group Bravo. The first time I thought about joining the Navy was in '86 when I saw Top Gun. You know, I wanted to be Tom Cruise and get the girl and all that good stuff. I was born in Stockton, California, but I moved around Northern California a lot when I was younger. I think the relationships that you can build in the Navy are almost unlike any other. It's like a brotherhood. When I say that, that's obviously men and women. My fiance, she lives in Orlando, Florida right now, unfortunately. I have like a picture of her that I carry in my breast pocket. I always kiss her picture too before I go flying. This is my first wolf hunt. It would be very embarrassing if we don't do well. We're out to win. I mean, that's the whole point of it. And we want to represent HSL 49, and we want to make our squadron mates proud of us.
There's hometown rivalry between Rio's HSL 47 Saberhawks and Brent's HSL 49 Scorpions.
I don't care about the rest. We finished on top of 47. I'm happy.
Is just to go out and have a good time. I mean, we get a chance to show what we can do. We're representing not only ourselves, but the squadron. And obviously, we want to do well. I mean, let's have fun. So, let's go.
I know I feel motivated.
I'm kicking ass. Thanks, Brent. Now I'm ready. I love to fly. I can't believe I get paid to do this. I'm 29 years old, and I'm trusted to fly a multi-million-dollar aircraft. I'll be the aircraft commander. There's 2 pilots up front, a left seat pilot and a right seat pilot. I'll be sitting in the right seat. My main objective is to make sure that we get out there safely and then return safely.
On day 2 of the Wolf Hunt competition at 0900 hours, Battle Group Bravo lifts off.
The benefit of an exercise like this is that we have multiple assets that are all working in conjunction with each other to try and fight the bad guys. And the benefit of having the P3 can carry more buoys than we can and can cover obviously a larger area in a shorter amount of time. So they can go in and lay basically a buoy pattern, and then once we can actually localize where that target is at, boom, then we shoot in, we start tracking it, we get a course and speed on it, and then we kill it.
But there's a problem.
Right now, Battle Group Bravo is out on the range, but they're doing it without their P3.
One of the gauges in the flight station that measures the engine temperature is broken. This gauge right here is what caused us not to go today. But then again, it's a safety factor, and that's what's important.
It's a tough break for Battle Group Bravo as they're handicapped without their P3 directing each aircraft. But the competition will go on because this battle wouldn't be stopped in real war. The remaining S-3 Viking jet locks on to one of the floating targets representing an enemy ship armed with anti-aircraft guns. But all of the jet's bombs miss. The enemy ship is still armed and dangerous. Back at the Rock, Rio and his Alpha Battle Group team members keep score. As defending champion, Rio doesn't want to surrender his title. Bravo is stalled with their battle plan. They can't begin their sub-hunt until all hostile ships are eliminated. So one of the helicopters tries to do with a machine gun what a jet fighter couldn't do with a bomb cluster. Once again, they only have 30 seconds to shoot the floating target according to the rules of the game. It's a hit. Miles away, another helicopter closes in on the second enemy ship. Lieutenant Brent Gott at the controls. They launch a missile. Despite the kill, Battle Group Bravo is deteriorating into chaos. Without the P3 airplane quarterbacking the team, the aircraft have difficulty coordinating their attack. As often happens in real combat, it's up to a junior officer to call the plays, and Lieutenant Gott steps up.
I think it's good because this way one can dip, the other one can drop buoys for 3-3, and 3-3 can go in and attack. Great idea, great idea. We can at least, you know... Both HSs have buoys. Yeah, but if one is dipping, so that guy's not going to be dropping buoys. One's going to dip, and the other guy, though, is coming in, and we can have him drop buoys.
You have to stay calm in the cockpit. Try and
not let that frustration show.
Without the P-3 airplane, Bravo has fewer sonobuoys to work with, making the sub hunt much tougher.
Battle Group Bravo seems to be running into a little bit of trouble at this point.
While the Bravo aircraft frantically search the sea, one of the enemy submarines glides silently toward the carrier. The hostile submarine fires its torpedoes. 1, 2, 3. The carrier doesn't stand a chance. It's a hit. In real life, the supercarrier would have been destroyed. An unthinkable horror. 5,000 brave souls, the population of a typical American small town, would be lost. By firing its torpedoes, the sub has loudly announced its position. Within seconds, Lieutenant Brent Gott and a second helicopter are closing fast.
I'm going to turn to the left, coming around these guys. Come around. Okay, there he is. Left and lock there.
One helicopter locks on to the sub.
We don't know where they are.
It's payback time. A torpedo hits the water.
Come on, baby. Work with us.
The sub swerves to avoid it. But the torpedo's acoustic sensors aren't fooled. Scratch one sub. Time is expired for Battle Group Bravo.
It hurt on having the P3. Yeah.
Final score, Battle Group Bravo took out 2 hostile ships. One enemy sub was never located, and the second sub destroyed Bravo's aircraft carrier before it too was sunk. Lieutenant Gott tries to put the best face in his team's performance.
Battle Group Bravo, just back on the ground. Can you tell me how you think it went, Brent?
We had a few things going against us early on as far as some of the aircraft not being out there. But considering all the things that were going against us initially, I think we recovered nicely. We did a good job.
I'm here with Rio from Battle Group Alpha. Now that everybody's almost done, how are you feeling about your chances and about your performance?
I still feel very confident. The carrier got shot yesterday one time by a torpedo from a submarine. Today, when I was watching Bravo, the carrier got shot 3 times. I just think in that realm, we did a much better job than Bravo did.
All right. Thanks a lot. We're going to see how this turns out very soon.
Up next, another wolf hunt. But this team's going to try a risky new strategy. And the dangerous game where the Marines play with fire. And the enemy's getting ready to spring a surprise attack.
Wolf hunt is much more than a game. Since the collapse of the Soviet Union, attack subs have been sold to all kinds of outlaw nations. Those subs are out there and are a constant threat. Time now for the 3rd and final round of Wolf Hunt. Alpha Team and Bravo Team have each given it their best shot. Now they can only sit anxiously on the sideline watching Charlie Team attempt to become the Navy's best sub hunter.
I'm Lieutenant Bridget Brand-Huber. I'm originally from Racine, Wisconsin. We're the Easy Riders of HSL 37, and we fly the SH-60 Bravo Seahawk. We're in Battle Group Charlie for Wolf Hunt. I guess being a pilot is pretty cool. Being a girl, it makes you feel pretty proud. There's probably less than 10% women that do fly. It's an extremely male environment, and every once in a while you have to have a girl day and get your hair done and do your nails and remember that you are a girl. My husband's a Coast Guard helicopter pilot, and we met in flight school. We both have dangerous jobs. I do worry about him sometimes when he doesn't come home on time or doesn't give me a call. I'm always looking on the news to see if there's a helicopter down in the area. Today's mission, pretty obvious. We've been discussing this for the last 5 days. We're going to go out there, prosecute some surface vessels, prosecute some submarines, and hopefully come back with a victory. There's going to be a lot of rocking and rolling today. If you guys, your heads are down, you're raising them up, just let me know. I'll go straight and level. I'd rather you guys not have vertigo than us finish the tactical problem. All right, let's kick ass. Do it.
We're based out of Kaneohe Bay Marine Corps Base in Hawaii.
Bringing the warm air from Hawaii and a lot of intimidation, hopefully. There's a little bit of pressure. We're not familiar with the area. We came out here with orders from our CO to bring home the trophy, and we plan to execute those orders.
Battle Group Charlie is in the last stages of prep for their chance at the wolf hunt competition.
It's pretty much the only opportunity we have to compete against each other. Everything else is focused on working together as a team, and this time we really get to go out and show our stuff.
The captain of the P-3 airplane, like a football coach, pumps up his team before kickoff.
This is what it's all about. 4 helicopters, 2 H-3s, 2 HSL, 60 Bravos, and an S-3. We're the senior action commander. Okay, we make it happen. That's what it's all about right now. So if you can't get excited about that, blood ain't moving very well.
But Battle Group Charlie goes into battle seriously short-handed. 2 of their 4 helicopters and the S-3 Viking jet are grounded due to mechanical problems. Just like in combat, they must adapt and overcome. Now, the P-3 airplane's position as quarterback becomes even more crucial. He must maneuver his limited resources to maximum effect. With so many players on injured reserve, Charlie team changes strategy. They're going to try something different to win the game. The tactic is stealthy and deliberate. The P-3 drops a long row of sonobuoys that you can see on the left edge of the display. These sensors are put in place to try and locate the hostile submarine. Meanwhile, with the S-3 Viking jet out of the game, the helicopters have total responsibility for destroying the enemy's surface ships. Bridget soon locks on to one of the ships and charges into launch range.
All right, guys, we've got one hostile guy, and we're setting up for a penguin shot right now.
They fire a Penguin air-to-surface missile. However, SWAT's referees evaluate it as a miss.
All right, I'm not feeling like this is going too well.
Bridget only has 1 torpedo left in her anti-sub arsenal. Another helicopter also wasted a torpedo when he fired on what turned out to be a sonar shadow, not a sub. All he has left is his ship-destroying Penguin missile. Time to improvise. The 2 helicopters swap targets. So Bridget goes after the sub while the other helicopter hunts down the surface ship.
Stand by for buoy drop.
Sonar indicates to Bridget there is a submarine below. With only 1 torpedo left, she's hesitant to launch without more proof.
Where the heck did they drop those other buoys? A million miles away? Yeah. Do we have contact? No. Off of what they told us. Where the hell is that second target?
Bridget's caution pays off. They saved their torpedo, but lost precious time.
Who cares? It's a really sniff. I mean, we've been flying around in circles chasing lines. For all we know, the guy's way over there now.
Hunting a sub that isn't there.
All right, let's do it. We gotta get this target.
I can't understand what they're doing.
Rio, from Battle Group Alpha, observes the last round of competition. Remember when Bridget swapped targets with the other helicopter? The tactic works. The other helicopter finds an enemy ship, launches its last Penguin missile, and lands a knockout punch. The P-3 finds one of the enemy subs, launches another torpedo, and racks up another kill. But there's still another enemy sub lurking somewhere out there, protected by 1 remaining hostile surface ship.
All right, come on, 2-3, your last hope.
Playing short-handed, Charlie team decides to take a major risk. Ignore the enemy surface ship and go after the sub. Suddenly, the sonobuoys make contact with the sub. It's dangerously close to the carrier. Better act fast. With the other helicopter hunting in a different sector, Bridget must face the sub one-on-one. It's a race against time. The enemy sub is setting up for a killer shot. It's Bridget's job to beat it to the punch. Bridget drops her torpedo. It's in the water, and it looks like it's right on target. But at the last second, the sub makes a rapid evasion move and attempts a suicide attack on the carrier. Bridget's torpedo just misses the sub. But the broken play causes the sub to fire wildly, barely missing the carrier. Seconds later, the P-3 airplane streaks in and smokes the sub. Game over. Battle Group Charlie's final score: 1 surface ship and both hostile submarines sunk. The enemy's principal target, the aircraft carrier, still safe and sound.
It's rough out there.
What was that?
Really rough out there. I'm not feeling too confident right now, but we'll find out tomorrow.
Did you accomplish the mission?
We did accomplish the mission. We killed all the targets, so I guess that was the goal. None of us got killed, but it was definitely pretty raw. We're all feeling pretty defeated right now.
So who won this year's wolf hunt? We'll tally up the score in a moment. But first, we turn to the Marines. Their war game is called CAX, short for Combined Arms Exercise. Here's the situation. There's an enemy invasion here, and they're threatening to destroy a vital port called 29 Palms. The enemy has plenty of firepower: anti-aircraft guns, artillery, tanks, and infantry. American forces must crush the invasion by driving the invaders away from the port. 2,800 Marines will use all their assets to blast the bad guys back to where they came from. But they only have 30 hours. And there's a deadly twist. The shells, bombs, grenades, mortars, and bullets, it's all real.
Since their founding in 1775, the U.S. Marine Corps has always known the importance of being ready for battle, and today, CAX, the Combined Arms Exercise, is an important part of that training.
The cry, "Send in the Marines," has been heard over 200 times since the end of World War II. The Corps' mission is to be first. First to fight for right. First to respond to international emergencies and disasters. That's why the Marines are often called the nation's 911 force. In this exercise, the Marines have landed at the imaginary port of 29 Palms, actually the California desert. Enemy forces have overtaken the surrounding area. The Marines must use their combined arms, air, infantry, and artillery, to push inland from the port and drive the enemy back. And they have just 30 hours to do so. Somewhere, hidden from view in these desolate hills, the enemy is lurking. CAX is 3 weeks of exhausting training, but this battle is a 30-hour championship final. And it's all with live rounds, because their commanders want them to see what it's like to have real bullets whizzing by. They want the troops to experience the unpredictable nature of battle. If mistakes are made, Marines could be wounded or killed. It's happened before. Nobody wants to see it happen again.
All of you, safety. Remember safety. It's an inherently dangerous job we've got here. Things explode, tanks are running around, airplanes are flying in the air, helicopters are flying through the air. Things can happen.
I'm Colonel David W. Malden. I'm the CEO of the 7th Marine Regiment. I've been a Marine since 1967, so I've been doing this for 33 years now. I came in as an enlisted guy right out of high school, went to Vietnam. I was a fire team leader, squad leader in Vietnam, came out, went to college, came back in as an officer, and I've commanded everything from a rifle platoon right up to the regiment.
The ultimate responsibility for the success of this exercise and the safety of every Marine in it lies upon Colonel Malden's shoulders.
He is our great grandfather, and we call him the old man. The amount of years in the Marine Corps that he has, he loves the Marine Corps. It's flowing through his veins. And when you call him the old man, although it's an affectionate term, for him, he knows that retirement is probably around the corner. So sometimes he doesn't like to hear that, because he really wants to be a Marine forever.
Being out here with the Marines, getting dirty, sweating, sleeping in the dirt, may sound strange to some people, but it's what I like doing. That's what I live for. Don't forget the purpose of what we're doing here today, gentlemen, ladies.
Here's the attack profile. Phase 1, an airstrike to knock out the enemy's anti-aircraft defenses. Then, helicopter gunships attack the enemy's long-range artillery. Phase 2, massive artillery to pound the enemy out of their positions. Phase 3, infantry assault to drive the enemy into retreat and take back the port of 29 Palms. It's a classic battle plan.
This board, look at it as a sheet of music, and the whole MAGTF is an orchestra with the colonel, the commander, as the conductor. I'm that guy with the pen ink stains on his hands and his forearms who puts the notes on the paper. And we put together a plan, throw it up here on the map so that the colonel can visualize it, and he either blesses it or he crinkles it up and he throws it at us and he tells us to do it all again. I'm Major Jim Chartier, and I'm the operations officer for MAGTF 7.
From Colonel Malden right down to the grunts on the ground, everyone is coiled and ready to strike.
Roger out.
We've got our ammo loaded up, got our chow, water, everything's good to go, all our gear's loaded up, and now you're just kind of running through the whole plan in your head, thinking about exactly what's going to go on and what I should be doing at any given moment.
Sergeant Thomas Russell, 37 Kilo Company, United States Marine Corps.
My mom pretty much raised me as a single parent, so we didn't have very many guns in the house. I learned to shoot in boot camp. You know, you go to boot camp and you lose TV and soda pop, things that, you know, all kids love. And you come out here, it's cold, and you start to learn to appreciate the things you do have. You don't take very many things for granted anymore.
Target number Alpha Golf 3041, over.
Sergeant Russell, the men in his squad, and 2,500 other Marines are facing an enemy armed with anti-tank weapons, mortars, air defense units, and tanks. For this exercise, the enemy targets are made up of plastic dummies, rubber tires, and old tanks. Just as in real war, you can't always see the bad guys, but make no mistake, they're out there.
The enemy right now is located in that set of hills. If we were to leave here and start straight across with no artillery or anything suppressing them or attacking them, we'd just be targets out in the desert for them to take out. Right. So what we do, we call in artillery, air, and other fires on them to destroy them and also to keep their heads down so that we can advance across the desert without them having clear shots at us.
Please off cold left. Never flight.
To win the battle, first the Marines must rule the skies. FA-18 Hornets, the super-fast fighter planes, rain down 500-pound bombs on enemy anti-aircraft positions. Bombs big enough to blow up a 4-story building.
Please off cold. Mojo flight resetting guarded for second pass.
Their objective is to make a clean sweep of any remaining anti-aircraft guns and visible tank positions. Points are scored on accuracy and timing. In the 60 minutes allotted, the fighters blast 80% of the anti-aircraft, and the helicopters waste the rest. Touchdown! On the ground, the game masters in this live fire exercise are called coyotes. You know them by their khaki camouflage and their bright orange vests.
I had them cold.
Coyotes serve a dual purpose. They feed intelligence reports to the Marines and grade them on how quickly and accurately they respond. But they also play the role of the enemy, suddenly changing the tactics and the disposition of the enemy troops. It's as if the bad guys have the referees on their side.
We have Coyote with them at every step, down to the rifleman all the way up to the MAGTF CO.
Now it's phase 2. 5 hours to lay down an artillery barrage delivered by 3 batteries of guns.
So
then you bring in things like artillery, you know, and all that can get him when he's exposed. So you put him in a dilemma. You know, he's damned if he gets up and moves. He's damned if he doesn't. You know, and that's what's good about combined arms.
Deflection 3019. Basically, what we're doing is we're sending a 155 howitzer round downrange about 14 miles. We can put anywhere between 4 rounds to 8 to 10 rounds downrange. I love what I do because being an artilleryman, we're the king of battle.
In the closing minutes of Phase 2, the infantry races toward the front lines as the long day comes to an end. As night falls, the Coyotes determine the artillery strike has done enough damage. Russell's grunts start to dig in for the night, close to the front lines. Marines learn to use the very contours of the ground as a defensive weapon. Even the slightest ridge can provide protection for a sleeping Marine. But they'll need more than foxholes tonight, because the enemy is about to launch a surprise attack.
When we return, the award goes to the best wolf hunter of all. Plus, with time running out, can one Marine's extraordinary courage under fire deliver victory to the good guys? Find out next.
Well, good morning. The moment we've all been waiting for to find out who the winners are of the wolf hunt.
Although the winning battle group had to play shorthanded, it was still mission accomplished. They eliminated all threats and saved the aircraft carrier from near certain destruction.
Congratulations, VP9, VS38, HS10, HS6, HSL 45, and HSL 37.
We did it as a team, so.
With what we had, I thought that we did the best we could possibly do as far as prosecuting both the surface contacts and the subcontacts. But still disappointed that we didn't take top crew, and then our battle group didn't win.
Charlie did an excellent job. I saw Charlie yesterday, and not to take anything away from him, but when you have 3 aircraft, it's a lot easier to manage 3 aircraft instead of managing 6 or 7. I mean, it was a great exercise. You always have fun doing it, but you know, nobody likes to lose. Nobody likes to lose at all, I guess. Kind of hard to swallow right now.
Congratulations to Charlie team. There's a military cheer, Bravo Zulu, which means job well done. Now back to CAX and the Marines' battle to protect the port of 29 Palms. Think this is just a game? Think about this. In years past, the Marines were called into action about once every 4 months. Nowadays, it's once every 5 weeks. But right now, the Marines have just hours left to repel the enemy, or they lose. Game over.
What we've done now is it's gotten dark. We're in a hasty defense. I've set up my Marines on a watch. The other Marines are bedded down for the night, and we're going to get some rest before our attack tomorrow.
It's just cold. Just wanting to go to sleep.
Emotionally, you immerse yourself into the battle, because although I'm moving pins up here, none of us can ever forget that it's a young 18, 19-year-old Marine on the deck with a rifle who's scared. He's got parents who are worried about him. You know, we've got to make sure he gets to go home someday. We can't get too wrapped up in the map. It's life that we want to live, and that's why we're so intense in what we do.
Around 9 p.m., there are flashes of artillery across the night sky. Surprise! The Coyotes have launched an enemy counterattack.
Let's go!
American forces fire back. Live fire is everywhere. Pinned down by the artillery, Sergeant Russell and his men go scurrying for the safety of their armored vehicle. In live fire exercises like CAX, friendly fire casualties are always a dreaded possibility.
Unfortunately, yes, we have had Marines killed at CAXs in the past. This is an inherently dangerous business.
Finally, the enemy guns go silent, at least for the moment. The Marines have just a few more hours to take back 29 Palms, so Russell prepares his squad to move back out into the night.
I know it's cold, all right? I'm cold too. I know we're all tired. Basically, we plan on getting absolutely no sleep tonight, all right? This is our last freaking night. Keep the motivation up. Just gotta dig down deep and deal with it, all right? Go ahead and get your gear on and come outside with me.
At 1 a.m., Resigned to another sleepless night, the squad prepares to move into position for the final battle. They don't know it, but tomorrow will bring a deadly new twist. The Coyotes are planning a brutal change of tactics that will place these Marines face to face with death itself. Dawn, the last day of CAX.
Okay, go ahead.
Air and artillery units have pulverized the enemy's defenses and most of his armor. But the enemy still holds the high ground, and now, as always, it's the Marine infantry who have to seize it. The clock is ticking. The enemy must be driven back by noon.
Sorry, you have orders from
But the Coyotes have shifted position. During the night, the enemy packed up and
Put
moved.
together the mission and all the guidance.
To reach the last enemy stronghold, the infantry, including Sergeant Russell and his men, must now cross a field salted with live landmines designed to kill. The plan is to cut a path through the minefield so the Marines can get across. Engineers in an armored vehicle will coil plastic explosive called C4 around a 5-inch rocket and launch it.
And the C4 is stretched out in such a way that when they detonate it, it'll clear any mines in the path of the other vehicles that are going to come in the attack.
The first C4 line charge is launched.
There we go, there we go.
And the Coyotes wait for the explosion. But minutes go by and nothing happens.
I'm sensing a misfire here.
The atmosphere is tense. If this were real combat, there'd be enemy troops just behind that hill waiting to attack.
This is the worst spot to be on this side of an enemy obstacle. That's where everything they've got, all their fires are directed. This is designed to be their best killing area.
A Marine must be sent out to reset the charge, making himself an easy target for the enemy artillery watching from the hills above the desert floor. One Marine will put his life on the line so the rest of the Corps can complete their mission. During real combat, that could be a death sentence. Finally, the line charge detonates. Marine engineers drive bulldozers over the ground to clear any remaining mines. But the delay has given the enemy time to reposition again. The game clock is counting down as the Marines get ready to mount one last offensive. Sergeant Russell and his men saddle up and move out.
This unit will hook around and come in from behind the enemy, and we're going to fix the enemy essentially in a giant pincer, and he won't be able to move either way, and then we'll just continue to pound him and pound him.
Once it starts getting down and we start getting closer and you hear that heavy volume of fire laying down, you know, your adrenaline starts going, and you know it's about time to go do your job.
1, 2, 3, push on!
As Russell and his team move in, Colonel Malden calls for an airdrop of support troops.
It's a football game. There's no score right now, but we're about to get a touchdown.
They're sitting in those Amtraks going, oh boy, here we go.
I'm on the ground with the Marines right now. We've just crossed through that trench that was made through that C4. What we're trying to do now is lay down a base of fire so the fellow Marines can take this trench just beyond where we are. Go!
Finally, it appears that the Marines have the enemy on the run.
The enemy essentially is being split up, and now we're beating him in little pockets of resistance, and we're just pounding him away. And I expect, actually, within the next hour that he'll fold.
Then comes the news everyone has been waiting for. Victory is at hand. The game is over.
All right, they got it. Attention in the COC. The The training objectives have been met for the day.
Outstanding. It's another beautiful day in paradise.
It's a good day to be an American, I gotta tell you.
They really pounded the crap out of the target, so it looked really good. And I think most of our fires were dead on. It looked like all my men were hitting their targets really well.
The best asset we've got in the Marine Corps is that individual Marine, that young guy, that 18, 19, 20-year-old young man. You know, he gives his heart and soul to us. He comes out here, and every one of them's a hero. Every single one of them's a hero.
The men and women of our armed forces face tremendous danger, put up with hardship, and perform acts of heroism, all for relatively modest pay. The servicemen and women I've met do it largely for the intangibles, a sense of honor, duty, and love of country. That's pretty impressive these days. In the end, of course, war is no game. And as the saying goes, we go to war only to protect the peace. I don't know about you, but I sleep a lot better at night knowing that war games like these keep our servicemen and women prepared for anything at any time.